Hi, it's McMeany here, and this is how to use Google Trends to help you do better research and to improve your digital marketing. Now, you can use Google Trends to help with a wide range of things like niche research. You can use it to generate product ideas, to find new content topics, and to even discover new keyword ideas. I'll show you how to do that today step by step. And you can also use Google Trends to analyze and validate existing keyword ideas. And I think you really should use it because, well, I want to explain that it's actually very risky to only depend on keyword research tools and only depend on the search volume that they uncover. So basically, when we do things right, when we use Google Trends in the right way, it will drive more traffic to your website. But there is a certain way to use it, which I'll show you. And also, make sure that you stay until the end because I'm going to give you a free mini course that will show you more ways to drive targeted traffic to your website for free. Okay, so let's head over to the computer now because what I want to do first is show you why you shouldn't depend on just keyword research tools or that search volume, because it is vitally important that we validate all your ideas with Google Trends. And I'll show you exactly how to do that, because if we go to the computer now, you can see that we're in a keyword research tool. So this is SEMrush, and we're looking at the search volume for Pokemon Go. Now, at first glance, this looks like a pretty decent keyword, and the search volume is pretty high. Okay, the competition is, crazy high, but in terms of search volume, which we're focusing on at the moment, it looks really good. But if we head over to Google Trends, we can see that over the last 12 months, interest is pretty consistent. I'll talk about these numbers in a second, but really, if you have a look at it, interest is okay. It's not doing too bad at first glance. But if we zoom out, if we go to the last 5 years, check this out. So there you can see in 2016, we had this massive spike of interest, and then it fell off. And now it is practically flatlined with the occasional little peak here and there. But generally speaking, you want to avoid this kind of fall off and then the flat line. So if you validate your ideas in Google Trends and you see this pattern, get away from it, get out of there. You don't want to be in that niche or generate or create products in that marketplace. Now, there is an instance where we would want to create products, which I'll explain more in a second, because just this fall off in itself doesn't tell the full picture, but this does. The flat line tells the story more accurately. Also, in addition to avoiding niches and topics that have this fall off, you want to avoid seasonal topics and ideas too. So let me show you an example of that. The obvious one is going to be Christmas party. So if we put that into the keyword tool, you're going to see that Christmas party, 33,000. That's a really good search volume. If we were doing keyword research, that's a good number to go for. But if we head back to Google Trends, let's type in, if it's working for me, go back to the front page. So if we type in Christmas party, interest over time, there we have this big spike. If we have a look at the last 5 years, of course, what's going to happen is that you can see that fall off there, and then practically a flat line and another spike and a fall off, another spike. You want to avoid that. So that tells you that this is a seasonal keyword. You knew that already, but you want to validate your ideas in this way too, just to make sure that even if you're looking at search volume, you are actually looking at the trends as well, because I want you to do really well online, and I don't want you to fall into some of the same mistakes that I've made over the last 20 years. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you 3 examples. So we're going to look at Google Trends in 3 different ways, so we get a pretty good picture of how to use it and you get a really good understanding of the full benefits of this tool. I'm also going to explain what these numbers mean, because there we have from 100 down to 0. Now these numbers are almost meaningless. This is not search volume. The numbers are all relative, so they change depending on what you're comparing them to. I'll show you what I mean in a second, because if we go have a look at a very popular niche, so it could be weight loss. Now you're going to see interest over time, it's around 50. Okay, it peaks and then it dips. Let me show you something. So the past 5 years, you're going to see these peaks and fall offs. Okay, so there we have this big spike and then it falls, spike and then it falls. However, look at where the line is. So it never really dips below 50, 40, and it is always pretty high. So that tells you that even though we have this fall off, the rest of the traffic, the rest of the interest is pretty high. So even though we have these big spikes, it's fine to enter that niche. It's going to be very competitive for you, but generally speaking, this kind of spike and fall off is fine. It's not flatlining. It's not hitting 0. So these numbers from 0 to 100, it all depends on what you're comparing it to. So if we type in another key phrase that is in the same niche, let's go with diet and see what happens. So remember, it was previously at 50. There you go. So when compared to diet, weight loss has now dropped down to 25 from 50. So let me just show you that again. I'll remove that. So there, you can see it's above 50, but there, a minimum of around 50. If we add diet, it drops. So that's why it's relative, and that's why it's got nothing to do with search volume. And interestingly, in this niche, it looks like diet is twice as popular as weight loss. So if you were interested in entering that niche, you now know that diet could really be your focus of interest. Of course, the competition is going to be massive in this industry, and that's fine. But generally speaking, there's more interest in dieting than weight loss. And you want to have at least 3 comparisons. So let's throw another one into the mix. What should we go with? Workout, I think. And now, okay, and that's beaten weight loss as well. So we've got weight loss at 23, we've got diet at 57, and workout at 36. So it's pretty obvious where the interest is. So even though we have these peaks and fall off, look at that. It's almost identical right through the year across all 3 of these key phrases. Now, of course, these key phrases that we're looking at are short tail keywords. So they're 1 to 2 words long. You want to avoid using them. We'll get into long tail in a second, and I'll give you some examples of that later on. But for now, to get as much data as you can from Google Trends, what I want you to do is have a look at United States here, choose worldwide. That's going to give you the biggest amount of data, but if you know you're just going to target a particular country, then go with that. However, if you're not sure yet and you're not sure where you're going to go with worldwide. Then you want to validate every idea for at least the past 5 years. You can go further out. You can go right back to 2004 to present, and you can see how things have gone over time. So I'm not sure what happened here. We have this massive fall in 2004 down, and there over the years it is pretty consistent there, but generally you want to go for past 5 years. That's going to give you, a fairly accurate sample of what's been going on previously, so you can predict the next 5 years. Okay, next we have this download icon here. So that's going to download this into a spreadsheet, a CSV file. I recommend that you do that, maybe not necessarily on interest over time, but certainly when we get down into the nitty-gritty details, you might want to get more data than is immediately available here. So for example, let's say you want to run ads or create content for people in a particular area. You want to make sure that you're matching the content or the ads at the maximum point of interest. So you want to have that overlap between the keywords, the point of interest, which is going to be, say, dieting, also with the location. So here you're going to half the level of competition on the internet, and you're going to get very, very targeted traffic as a result. So here, if we go down to diet down here, so we know that interest in dieting is really high in the United States. We know that it's really high in Australia. We can break it down into city if we want to. So if you want to target particular areas, maybe London, because you know that people in London are interested in dieting, you can export this as a CSV file as well. Also, we have related queries here. Now, there's two ways to view this. So we have rising and then we have top. So related queries are search phrases that people have put into Google in addition to dieting. So it's closely related to that keyword. So here we have different types of diet, and this is rising. So these are keywords that are becoming more popular. People are searching these more often at the moment. And then we can switch to top. So these are the most popular ones at the moment. So diet keto, keto diet, if I'm pronouncing that the right way, diet plan. So you know that these are popular key phrases that you might want to include into your content or your ads in some way. Then if we go down to workout, we can get the same type of results for that key phrase as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and have a look at a different niche. So let's go with tropical fish tanks. So tropical fish tank. Let's see the interest in that over time. Okay, pretty consistent. Yeah, it bobs up and down a little bit, but generally interest is pretty consistent. Let's add another key phrase. So we want to go with marine fish tank. Let's see what happens. Okay, tropical, more popular. Let's add another one because we want to have at least 3 comparisons. Let's say cold water fish tank. I don't think it's going to be very popular, but that's okay. Okay, yeah, it's less popular there at 14. Okay, so we have quite a lot of data to work with. If we go down here, again, we can break it down by sub-region, but we can also go have a look at metro, which is very interesting. So if we click that, it's going to bring back LA and New York, I predict. That's going to be the big ones. Yep, there's LA 100%. Oh, interestingly, Boston 100%, New York 72. Here, Atlanta is the most popular in terms of metro for tropical fish tanks. If we go down here, tropical fish tank, interest by sub-region. So if you want to expand out, I mean, these are good places to run ads. Colorado is going to do really well for you if you run tropical fish tank ads to the people there. So what we could do is drill down into that area even further. Okay, so we can go to Google and we can now search for tropical fish breeds. So we might type in tropical fish breeds, and what we're going to do is compare all the different types of tropical fish. So guppies, and what we can do is find the most popular, because when it comes to generating content ideas and growing an audience or running ads, we want to get very, very specific. We want to have laser targeted focus on the content we create and the ads that we run. So Let's search for guppies. That tells us, well, interest is pretty high in guppies. So let's say the last 5 years. Look at that, it's really consistent. Nice. Let's find some breeds. So neon tetra. I love neon tetras. If we see what interest, okay, right, it's good data to have because it tells us that interest in guppies are very popular. Let's go with cherry barb as well. Throw that into the mix. Okay, so what you could do is just go through a list of subtopic ideas, and then do comparison that way. Obviously, go back to your keyword research tool and then type in your keyword here. So let's go guppies. Yep, good search volume, looking okay. So now what you have done is you've used Google Trends to validate your ideas, uncover new areas that you might not have considered before. Let's do one more because there are other ways that we can use this and I want you to have the full picture. So let's say you teach guitar, so we can type in learn guitar. Now, this is a short tail key phrase. We want to go long tail because long tail is going to reduce the level of competition. It's going to make our life easier. If we go for short tail, which is just 1 to 2 keywords, it's just going to end up being a waste of time, unfortunately. So that's why we want to have a minimum of at least 3 keywords. So learn classical guitar. So that's a long tail key phrase. Let's see what interest it is. Okay, it's a bit up and down. At points it hits 0. That's not particularly a good sign, but that's okay because we're only doing a comparison at the moment. Let's go with learn electric guitar. Okay, and that's easily double, more than double. And the interest is fairly consistent, so it's above 0. And now let's go with another one. Let's say learn acoustic guitar. Oh wow, look at that. Okay, so acoustic guitar is really popular in comparison to classical and electric. I would have thought electric would be top, but there we go. At some points it does overtake acoustic. So this is kind of interesting because we can see that interest in both of these niches, electric guitar and acoustic guitar. Look at that. They peak, they increase around the same time. So something is happening in culture or in the media that promotes interest in that. Now around here, okay, that's Christmas. So people are buying guitar, learning guitar, taking up new hobbies, that kind of thing. And then around Easter, that's interesting, it increases again. So because we have these big peaks of interest in the run-up to Christmas and the run-up to Easter, that tells you that in the months prior, you should be investing your time and your resources into creating content that is going to rank for these key phrases at that time, so you catch that wave. Okay, let's move on. So we can drill down into this in a bit more detail. So let's go down. Okay, learn acoustic guitar, related queries. So good songs to learn on acoustic guitar. Right, easy songs to learn on acoustic guitar. Interest is rising, so more people are searching for these key phrases. That's brilliant. So let's have a look at top acoustic songs to learn. This is really interesting. If we click on that, so first of all, that could be a piece of content that you create. It's long tail and it's probably easier to rank for than just learn acoustic guitar. So acoustic guitar songs, people are interested in the songs. If we click on that, it's going to take us to interest over time. It is fairly consistent. It dips down a little bit every now and then, but if we go down to related topics and then related queries, so we have a difference between both of these. First of all, related topics are more general, they're more broad keywords, but related queries are more closely related to the original key phrase of acoustic guitar songs to learn. But here, related topics, it tells you that people are interested in learning how to play Wonderwall by Oasis. If we have a look at the top, there we have more content ideas, but I'm really interested in actual songs that people are interested in learning. So you could create content that teaches people how to play Wonderwall on an acoustic guitar. Now you know that there is interest in that. If we click on Wonderwall, let's just validate that the interest is pretty consistent. It's evergreen. There it is. That is an evergreen key phrase because it's not depending on fads or trends or anything seasonal. And you always want to be creating evergreen content. Of course, if you suspect that there is increasing interest in a particular key phrase, absolutely go for it. Catch that wave before it hits. But generally, you're going to get more bang for your buck if you create evergreen content. If you found this useful, give it a thumbs up below. If you didn't, then give it a thumbs down, and that's fine too. And if you want more videos from me, click subscribe and hit the little notification bell so you get the next video that I upload. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon. Take care.